In the blistering heat of the Australian outback, an army prepared for war. But this wasn't a war against men. It wasn't against a foreign nation. It was against birds. Yes, birds. And somehow, the birds won. It was 1932. The Great Depression had hit Australia hard. Farmers in Western Australia were struggling. Their crops were their lifeline, and every grain of wheat mattered. But then came the invaders. Not soldiers, not thieves, but emus, thousands of them. Massive, 6-foot-tall, flightless birds with long legs and faster speed than a racing horse. They came down from the hills in waves, drawn to the farmers' wheat fields like moths to a flame. The farmers tried everything to chase them off. They banged pots, fired rifles, even tried fences, but nothing worked. So, desperate and defeated, the farmers turned to the government for help. And that's when things got bizarre. The government actually agreed not to send money, but to send soldiers. In November 1932, Major G.P.W. Meredith of the Royal Australian Artillery was deployed to the outback, with 2 Lewis machine guns and 10,000 rounds of ammunition. The plan was simple: find the birds and wipe them out. But the emus, they had a plan of their own. But at first, the soldiers spotted around 50 emus gathered near a farm. Meredith gave the signal. The soldiers opened fire. The birds scattered instantly. Bullets sprayed through the air, but the emus, fast and agile, vanished into the scrub before the soldiers could reload. Only a handful were killed. Meredith's men looked at each other, puzzled. How hard could it be to shoot birds? One muttered. They were about to find out. The next day, the soldiers mounted trucks and tried again, chasing hundreds of emus across the plains. But as the machine gun roared, the bumpy roads made it impossible to aim. And worse, the machine gun jammed. The emus raced ahead, untouched, as the soldiers' truck sputtered to a stop. By the end of the week, the men were exhausted, covered in dust and humiliated. The emus seemed to move like soldiers, working in small units, sending scouts to warn the others, darting and weaving like trained fighters. One reporter even wrote, "The emus have proved that they are not so stupid as they usually are considered to be. Each mob has its leader, always a tall black-plumed bird who stands sentry while his comrades feed. At the first suspicious sign, he gives the signal and dozens of heads go up. The press soon caught wind of the chaos, and when the headlines exploded, men versus birds, and the birds are winning. Australian army defeated by emus. The entire nation was laughing. After several embarrassing weeks, Major Meredith withdrew his troops. The war was over. Final score: emus 1, humans 0. Less than 1,000 birds had been killed out of the 20,000 that plagued the fields. Later, Meredith reportedly said, "If we had a military division with the bullet-carrying capacity of these birds, it would face any army in the world. They can face machine guns with invulnerability." The government quietly ended the campaign. Farmers went back to building fences, and the emus, free and fearless, continued to roam the outback. The Great Emu War became one of the most ridiculous chapters in human history, a time when modern soldiers, armed with machine guns, lost a battle to flightless birds. And yet, it's also a story of nature's defiance, how even the most advanced weapons can fail against the wild unpredictability of life itself. To this day, the Emu War remains a running joke in Australia, proof that sometimes even the smartest species can make the dumbest mistakes. Because in 1932, Australia went to war with birds, and then the birds won.